What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 1 of season 2 of Dandadan. That's right, Dandadan is back. Season 2. We're watching it. We'll be doing episodic reviews, which we are doing today. And yeah, it just started. So we'll jump into a real quick recap. Starting basically where season 1 left off. It literally just continues into it. We find out more about Gigi's house and the town that his parents are in. Well, I guess he lives there too. Mm-hmm. But basically, throughout the episode, we find out that the Keto family, right? The creepy looking people.
Keto. I can't remember.
I think it's Keto. They're basically his landlords, and they also happen to be a family that has been sacrificing people to what we find out is just like a giant worm, but they think it's some kind of mythological serpent. And they think they are protecting the village or the town from a volcano, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, they subdue Gigi and Akarun while Momo is coming back from the hot spring where she got attacked by creepy dudes. Those guys are part of the
family
of the Keto family. Yeah, they got around quick. I like the scene where they're running away from the cops and they're just climbing up the sides of buildings and shit. And yeah, we find out when Momo gets back that the Keto family is dangerous. They attack her. They're yelling a bunch of random shit. And then we find out that the matriarch of the family, the mom, is a fucking karate master. Saying Jennifer Lopez Anaconda while doing moves, ends up knocking Momo into a room with quicksand where they are hoping she will just sink into the ground and be sacrificed along with Gigi and Akarun. But those two wake up. They go to help out Momo. And everybody ends up falling into an underground area where there are a bunch of houses and the worm that the Keto family are very excited to offer up our three heroes, in which they get eaten. We think in the preview it looked like we might see more of them. That they got eaten by the worm, and Akarun, Gigi, and Momo all hide in a building, but we are left with a mystery of while they're in the building, Akarun starts turning into his turbo mode and getting creepy on Gigi, and then the episode just ends.
Momo's also holding her head too, so
yeah.
It seems like those two are being affected by presumably the worm. I've had to guess. So.
Yeah, or whatever's going on down there. So yeah, that's the episode in a nutshell. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be back. It's
it's like we never left.
Yeah, there was like literally no pause, which makes sense for this episode, but it was really annoying last season because like the last episode just stops and it felt incomplete.
It wasn't even a cliffhanger. It wasn't even set up like, oh, what's happening next? It's like the episode just ends like in the middle of something. It's like,
it was such a terrible way to end a season. So I'm happy to get some resolution to that now. And we're not done, obviously, but
this literally just kind of feels like season 1, part 2.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
That being said, I'll just kind of start with the basic stuff. Like the OP and the ED are both very well animated. They're very creative. I'm not in love with the opening song, but
I wasn't big on either song, but they might grow on me, especially the end song. But these are intros and outros to an anime that are the opposite of when when I complain about some intros and outros to animes we've watched in the past, where they're like super minimal or like just a bunch of CG or like really basic. I always want like something like this. These are actually like visually really cool.
Yeah, they're really fun.
Even the outro sequence has like a different art style to it, which is pretty neat.
ED's really, I think they're both really good, like openings and endings. I'm not going to listen to the music, but I do think it's as just a part of the show. I think it's done well. So
I've been completely brainwashed into thinking that the show has to have that intro though from last season, where it's like dun 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 dun, and that it didn't do that. I was like, and it's good. Every anime should have new songs, new intros.
I also think Creepy Nuts I'm sure they would have brought them back if they could, but they did the season 2 opening for Call the Night, which is also airing right now. So
Yeah, and I'm not even worried about the individuals. More so, just that theme song was just so like, it's just so locked in to for me when it came to the show. So it's just weird to not hear that at the beginning of this, but it's fine.
yeah. Let's see. The well, quite literally assault at the hot springs, and then everything magically protecting Momo was a little weird at first, and then I realized, then they show us, I should say, that Turbo Granny was enjoying the hot spring as well, and protecting yet not protecting Momo. She's very tsundere about that. And then, yeah, we get that part where we see all those like gray skinned dudes or whatever from, we later learn obviously if they're the Keto family. And then, yeah, we get back to the house and it's a bunch of women who look very similar. And then obviously we learn they're one big family, but that whole interaction in the house like was super like weird the whole time anyways. 'Cause like they're disturbing looking. They have like really prominent like features that are like very intentionally creepy. And they're just sitting there mowing down on crackers and cookies and stuff and like insisting that Gigi come join them and like reminding him he's lucky to live there and all this stuff. And I was like,
yeah, and
this
then,
is getting me like Yakuza vibes almost.
dude, no, that's why I said the matriarch. Fucking,
Yeah.
she is totally a Yakuza like
Yeah.
character because like like eyes and like just leaning in and getting like
Right.
pulling a gun out and saying accidents happen when you go boar hunting or whatever.
She's a hunting license and accidents can happen when you're hunting in the mountains.
And then she like points a gun right at him. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, it was extremely ridiculous, which is on point for the show. So
Oh, dude, yeah. This episode was so good just because it was just exactly what I was hoping for when it comes to the show. Just completely out there shit.
also like the fight between like Momo shows up and they start fighting or whatever. Momo and the mom of the family fighting as she's working her way to get to the mom part, I should say. Like they really taught her how to fight all of a sudden. Like I know she was like fine with like kicking people and stuff like that before, but like she did a whole bunch of stuff this episode, like with her psychic powers mixed with fighting and stuff like that, which was a lot of fun. And then Kung Fu Master Mother doing the silliest poses and then just completely amazing at karate.
Dude, I know she's like the bad guy, but I love her. Like, I hope she sticks around. I hope she becomes like on their team. She's fucking powerful.
Yeah, wow. Maybe that'll be Gigi's blessing.
As soon as she showed up and ran in and started just doing all the hand gestures and shit and just like punching and doing all these like very cliche moves, I was just like, this is fucking amazing. Especially the part where she started throwing the stuff and she's just walking, like knocking the stuff out of the air.
Yeah, right after ducking under the couch. Yeah.
Yeah, she pulled it from behind and she like got low and like dodged it. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I love this.
Yeah, and then just like watching again to kind of go back to the Momo part where like she's mixing in her powers right after she got attacked by the Jennifer Lopez anaconda attack.
Hell yeah.
You just kind of see like this little shield like pop up over her too, so it's kind of cool to see her evolve in that way too, because I don't remember her doing a lot of that stuff in the first season.
Oh yeah, dude, she was like way more proficient here than just like reaching around. Although we talked about a lot in season 1, they get really creative on mixing everybody's powers to work together.
Yeah.
And there's just her. We got to see a lot of just like her using her abilities in really creative ways. And there's a lot of really cool things they did in the fight scenes as well. Specifically, there's a part where one of the dudes from the back looked like he punched Momo in the stomach, but then we got a shot from the front and she still took a hit, but she like put her shield, so she's just basically absorbing the
blow.
the impact. Yeah. But I thought that was actually a really cool way to kind of portray that.
Yeah. And then the room that we saw at the end of last season, they go back into, and they still really didn't explain why all those talismans are there, other than like, I assume it's because it's the altar room. And then it turned into quicksand and everyone got to go visit the snake that turns out to be this weird like monster worm thing, which I'm sure we'll get more explanation on next episode.
Definitely seems like it.
Yeah, and then the family just being complete ridiculous and like Ginyu posing for this worm. If they don't do it right, they're gonna get eaten apparently, which they get eaten. So
Yeah, I love everything about the family outside of the dudes are predators.
they're gross.
Yeah, so I can't like them, but it was ridiculous when she came in and the dude just ran at her and yelled boobies.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But with how
Yeah, they're pretty one-track mind when they see a woman.
yeah, with how degenerate they are, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the Ginyu shit I liked. I thought
well,
like even the part where they were all jumping in the room or whatever, and it showed like the silhouettes,
Yeah.
and they're all leaping through, and they showed the mom do the flip or whatever. It's just like straight up Ginyu shit.
Well, and at least the good news is they are, not supposed to be the good guys. So if they are, gross people, you get to cheer for their demise later. So
I think it's interesting how the first episode of season 1 was a similar tone in the sense that Momo is almost assaulted by aliens.
Yeah.
And in this, these creepy dudes. And I have forgotten how just close to the edge the show will allow itself to get without being too much. With the hot springs part with Momo and the dudes, I was like, this is fucking kind of wild to see. But then also when they were grabbing her in the room and stuff, and I'm just like, but they all get their ass kicked anyway, so like it makes it just feel better when she's beating the shit out of these dudes. But I'm just like, man, this show really kind of pushes it a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I don't get like too into it, but I've already seen like people complaining about this episode online. So
Oh, yeah.
because of
Well,
that stuff. And
I
if you're
get it.
uncomfortable with that, like
I get it.
that's completely fair.
We grew up in the 90s watching anime, and it was worse.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised with how far they went with this show.
Yeah, I am also of the mindset, that the bad guys are just supposed to not like them.
Yeah. Well, and it also, just like when you allow somebody to like, kill a character or a John Wick's dog or whatever the hell, something cheap where it goes like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. It makes it feel better when they get punished, basically.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah, you get to see the bad guy get fucked up, and you have a reason to cheer as well.
it's a really quick way to get invested in watching those bad guys get punished, basically, without having to put a bunch of story into like why they're villains. It's just like, whoa, that guy's really fucking creepy. It's okay if he gets decked in the face or thrown across a room.
Yeah, you're never gonna feel bad for him at that point.
Instantly. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a piece of shit.
But yeah, and then the cliffhanger with, I assume what happened there is every time, I know like Momo like kind of keeps him in check, and I assume because she's going through something too. They were both going through something when they climbed in that house, and then he started converting. I wonder if that has to do with like the limitation. Unless I can't remember. Did they solve that last season a little bit? I can't.
I don't remember, but I'm sure they'll explain at the very beginning of the next episode.
Yeah. But yeah, I left off on another cliffhanger. This is the story of cliffhangers. So,
Yeah, we're just going. It's just going.
looking forward to this part to resolve so we can move on to the next thing. So, not that I'm necessarily in a hurry, but there's going to be 3 episodes devoted to one thing at this point. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know more about the whole Gigi's parent situation, because he had mentioned for a split second something.
Briefly.
Yeah, and then we didn't get anything from that. So I want to know more about that situation and how everybody's kind of connected in that. I loved this episode. It's a great way to start the season. You guys should go back and watch our reviews for season 1 if you're curious, but it was interesting to watch like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, I don't know if I like this show. The pacing's like too crazy. I can't keep up.
real hyper, yeah.
Can't keep up with like what they're trying to sell me here, but eventually it like got sold to me, and I really liked the first season. And so hopping to second season, just continuing where we left off in the first season and going just all out, like this episode really was just like, hey, we're back and we're going fucking crazy. It felt like right at home. I really enjoyed it, from just continuing the where we left off in the very beginning with the hot spring. It was interesting because I had watched a little bit of that last episode in preparation for this episode, and the animation was completely different. So they like reanimated it, which is interesting, like the same scenes, just in a different way. And yeah, that was a satisfying scene that I was happy to see Turbo Granny back in the mix. Her doing her fucking standing in the background, just staring thing that I love. And
She's
then
just ready to watch people. So.
yeah, she's just always not minding her own business.
True.
But and then yeah, the whole I love just the tone of when the old lady showed up and Gigi's just trying to be like, nice or whatever, because they're the landlords or whatever, and the whole time just the tone is just completely off, where they're just like making themselves at home, like telling him he needs to be grateful, basically, and he needs to do all this shit that they think he needs to do, and then they instantly just pull a gun out and start like making threats. I was like, this is crazy. And then Momo walks in and like they're all like half naked. It's just like, what the hell did she walk into after what she just experienced? Also, what was going on with the boo tuber? That was a quick little
He was
blip.
explaining the lore of the village, which
Yeah.
was that there's a giant serpent that used to make a volcano,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to sacrifice people back in the day, but they don't do that anymore. And then find out that they do still do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that story he knew, he was telling from the perspective of as if it was like this like thing that they don't do anymore, versus like we learned that is still happening. Basically.
Yeah.
So,
I just love the part where she's like, that'd be a good idea for
yeah, why aren't you saying this on BooTube, basically?
a BooTube, and he's like, oh, just instantly, it was like, whoa, shit.
Also, the unibrow was killing me, dude.
Yeah, he had a brutal unibrow, brutal brow. And then yeah, the fight scene with Momo and everybody I thought was awesome. Like both on like a like praising the animation and the choreography, but also just the comedic element to it.
Yeah.
And just the old lady just pulling out those moves. She was like animated really well too. How she's stepping forward and like doing all the moves. And then yeah, we leave off with the cliffhanger of them down in the hole. I'm curious to see where that goes. As much as I hope the Keto family does get theirs, and I hope that they got eaten, it looks like in the preview, it looked like we see them again unless it's a flashback.
Yeah.
But I do want to see the old lady again one more time because she's just
She's
hilarious
OP.
to me.
You might see her again. So.
Yeah, I feel like she could survive a worm if she was doing all that shit. But the rest of the family, I don't know so much. They all kind of suck. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good episode, really good first episode. We're starting off at a great pace, and I can't wait to watch the next one, which is so great because, not to spoil too much on our Lazarus review, but I didn't feel exactly this way about that show. But we did have some more nuanced thoughts about that show. Make sure to go watch those reviews if you watched Lazarus. But it's just nice to watch an anime and feel like this again, where I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
But they can't all be amazing.
I always like kind of like bring up with some the people I talk to about anime. I'm like, I like to watch some mid to like sometimes bad shows every once in a while, because then when I watch a show that like this, I go, oh, I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
So.
And on that note, we'll be reviewing episodically this show, Kaiju number 8. We'll be watching Sakamoto Days, but we will not do episodic reviews on that. We'll do a season review. And we also have to finish Shogun Season 1. We're pretty much at the end of it. And then there's all sorts of other animes I want to watch. I want to watch the Night of the Living Dead cat zombie thing.
Night of the Living Cat or
Yeah,
whatever.
I want to check that out. Hopefully it's a short anime because then I can just maybe just watch it and be done with it. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, let us know in the comments below. And also let us know what you thought of this episode. What do you think about the beginning of Season 2? Do you think it's starting off good? Do you think they could have done something better? Where do you think things are going? Unless you know, don't tell us. Please, no spoilers. And yeah, recommendations for animes. Let us know in the comments below. But I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. And until the next review, we'll talk to you guys later.